Go.
Okay, we're returning back from executive session. First item on the agenda is action on minutes, the April 15th, 2025 minutes, and the April 25th, 2025, which was a special meeting. What is the will of council for those two?
Motion to approve is written in block.
That works. All right. Orsini,
Yes.
Dave Seelan,
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis. Mayor Barnard,
Yes.
Wes Coble.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Moving forward, citizen comments on matters not on the agenda. You guys have waited a long time. We really want to hear your thoughts tonight. Nothing? Okay. So we're going to move to council committee reports. Safety and Service, they met on 5/7. They were supposed to meet today. That meeting was canceled. Their next is June 3rd at 5:30 PM in the council chambers. Planning and Zoning's 4/22 meeting was canceled. Their next meeting is May 13th at 6:30 in council chambers. Design Review Board met on April 22nd. Their next one is May 13th. And Ms. Monroe, is there anything to report from that meeting?
If I recall, I didn't write it down this time. We had a couple of sign permits. They approved a roof, and those were the demolitions too, right? They approved the demolitions for the 3 homes over on West Coshocton for the expansion of the nursing home. And then the certificate of appropriateness for the addition to the nursing home was approved.
Okay. When will those homes be demolished?
I would say any day. They just pulled the water meters out yesterday, so they're good to go.
Okay. Finance, the next meeting is May 20th at 5:30 in council chambers. Director reports, we received the service department's reports for water and sewer. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Liggett on the water and sewer reports that we received? Hearing none, Mr. Liggett, if you want to go over your service director report.
Yes, just real quickly, item 1, new water plant update. Met with Jacobs to discuss a starting contract and amount and a preliminary schedule. I think that's been turned over to Sean, so he can expand on that if he's ready. Item number 2, wastewater plant update. We submitted the PTI to DPA for phosphorus equipment to meet the new permits that we have in, so we're waiting for the response from the EPA before we purchase that equipment. Jump down to item number 3, source water assessment. We've been working with RCAP on that. We finally finalized the source water protection plan. It has been sent in to the EPA for their review and approval, so we're still waiting on that. I always give you an update on the leak detection equipment. There were no leaks found in Concord Crossing West, and correlators have been moved to East Jersey, John, Track, Casson, and East Pratt Streets. Going to jump down to item 7. I'm working with EMH&T to get some bid documents ready for possible mill and fill and micro seal on roads. There's roads are somewhat defined, but as soon as that bid document is in, that'll be brought back to the Finance Committee to look at. Concord Crossing Phase 3 has started. Sanitary lines are going in the ground until the heavy rain hit, but that work has started. The big item is number 9. The 1 million gallon tower maintenance was performed. Tower was drained, washed out. Coatings were inspected, all was good, no extraordinary wear on the coatings, everything's in good shape. Still waiting on the written report from the company to do the inspection. Tower was filled, disinfected, and put back into service. And that was a big project that went very smooth. And we're thankful that we had the second tower available to work off of, and I worked very well with the fire department during all phases of that project.
How do you guys drain the water out of it and not waste the water? How does that process work?
Okay, what we did to start with was we filled both towers to capacity, then shut the small tower off, isolated it, saved that water. Then the plant did not run for 36 hours. We just let the water continually drain out of the existing large tower till we got down to a pressure of about 38 pounds. At that point, Pressure on the north end of town drops even faster because it's a little higher elevation. So the rest of that, probably the bowl's 40 foot tall. The last 13 foot of the water in the bowl did go to waste. But as soon as we started to send that to waste, we had 3 people out. We cracked open the new tower as we were shutting the old tower down to waste and had the high service pumps on. So we do utilize as much of that water as we can. But the last 200,000 gallons probably had to go to waste because we can't maintain pressure. Because if you'd opened the new tower, it immediately would have started filling the old tower.
Like a water level.
Yeah, yep, the pressure of the new tower would have started pushing into the old tower, so.
Okay,
Valve manipulation and pump manipulation.
sounds fun. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Liggett? Thank you for your guys. They've been having to do a lot this week. They worked on this weekend. I understand the process that you did for the streets. I support how you did it. And thank you guys for all the work they've been doing this week.
They've been out in some pretty rough weather trying to make things passable.
I think you need to do a better job of predicting weather for the nation.
I didn't mind rain, but as much rain as we got has caused us some severe problems.
So thank you for all you guys did
Yes, sir.
this
But
weekend.
we'll pass that on to them.
So there's no questions for Mr. Liggett. We're going to move to tabled legislation. Ordinance 03-2025, an ordinance to amend section 1159 of the city's codified ordinances tabled April 15th, 2025. Does the applicant want to remove this from the table?
Yes. Motion to take ordinance 03-2025 off, or back on or off the table.
Second.
Bob Orsini?
Yes.
Dave Seeland? Tiffany Hollis?
Yes.
Mayor Barnard?
Yes.
Wes Coble?
Okay, if I could have you guys explain what you guys added and did this past couple weeks, and then we can move from there.
Sure, I'll jump in.
Okay?
Mayor. So we listened to the concerns the council had, and for the last 2 weeks, we had a little extra week in there. Staff is excited about that, so take a moment to pause and smile. We didn't get to join you all last week. So moving on. Over that time, we heard the concerns that you all presented, and we tried to navigate towards a wording and also identify information and get it headed your way so that it fit with the parameters that you felt comfortable operating in. So with that, we kicked this over to Trevor with some of the potential wording. Trevor was kind enough to add it in a way that he saw fit from a planning and zoning perspective in the permitted uses. And the biggest difference is number 5, the allowable production of material, including powder coating, that are 100% solid, passed, and completely solvent-free coatings. And then B, waterborne paints, including coatings that use water as the primary solvent instead of the traditional organic solvents. So this is probably the most impactful piece relative to the concerns that you all brought up over the last couple of council meetings regarding this particular permitted use. Some other things that were identified was just a study on how often this particular use is utilized throughout the rest of Ohio. Seems like it's pretty prevalent. I think a number came up with about 1,800 other sites in Ohio that are currently operating. So it's not new, but your concerns for the environment and the safety concerns were definitely warranted. So I'm not going to belabor it anymore. We can go into some of the other material that was sent to you all, but we're here to answer any questions. The applicant's here to answer any questions. Hopefully, we've checked that box and alleviated any concerns that you feel were relatively common.
Okay. Does council have any questions for Sean or the applicant? None? Does the community have any questions or comments for the applicant? Nick? Nothing. Okay. I make a motion that we move forward with ordinance 03-2025 as written.
Second. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Tiffany.
Mayor Barnard?
Yes.
Wes Coble?
Yes.
Bob Orsini?
Yes.
Dave Seeland?
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis?
Yes.
Awesome.
Great.
So we're done with that ordinance.
We're done with that ordinance. Little fanfare, I met with the butcher the name, Yorn, last Monday at the site, and they are really excited to be a part of Johnstown, and I think it'll give Deb and Ryan and myself great pleasure to reach out to Yorn and let him know that this was passed and they can proceed. And I think out of the permitted uses, the first applicant that's going to take advantage of that particular use happens to be a fantastic applicant, and they're excited to be here in Johnstown. So look to have a wonderful relationship, and at some point, we may be able to get you guys connected with them individually, or even possibly at a council meeting, maybe once they start to get up and running. We'll schedule you guys a plant tour if they were.
Maybe a ribbon cutting.
Ribbon cutting would be fantastic. So, pretty big operation as far as what they do worldwide, so we're happy to have their presence here in Johnstown, Ohio, and put us on the map a little bit more. And hopefully we'll have more of these announcements in the near future. So,
When do we anticipate them opening their doors?
They gotta do some, I think, some renovations maybe, or they're evaluating that now on whether they're doing, that's why Bjorn was in town personally.
I think there's some due diligence that they still are working through. This was one piece of obviously something that was written into their contract. I'm certain, I don't want to speak for them, but that would be my assumption. I think it was referenced in prior meetings. They'll also connect with our forest department just to confirm if they are in need of any type of pre-treatment process. So we'll go through that particular process and piece with them, but it sounds like they want to.
I think their hope is by the end of the year they have some type of preparation.
Awesome. Okay. Any other questions for him? Okay. Public hearings and legislation, this moved in public hearings, we're done with that. Introduction of legislation, there's none. We'll move to other business. Let's see, Mr. Orsini, you have anything?
Nothing.
Nothing. Wes?
I do not.
Ms. Hollis?
No?
Dave?
Yeah, much.
Let's go.
Well, I do.
Okay.
It's Dave's birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
Dave.
Second year. I don't think the video, people at home got to hear what you said. It was whose birthday?
It's Dave's birthday.
Oh.
Dave Seelan.
Dave Sealand. How old are you, Dave?
Oh,
48. You said it out loud. Good for you.
Send ducks to school. 'Cause they certainly come home.
Please, Dave. 40. I'm sure you're not.
Are you the creator of the Ducks?
That was completely organic. It was completely
Are you the
unintentional.
creator of the Ducks? It's a yes or
Creator,
no? Oh, okay.
Our Lord Almighty has created the duck.
Dave has a 3D lab in his room at school, and he sends these little ducks home with the kids.
aw.
And there's a lot of ducks in my house.
The original message, and again, completely organic, there was not a duck in the room until it just happened. But my message with the kids was, I want you to be a duck in here, right? It goes small sentimentality. My dad always called us ducks, right? All ducks out of the car. And it just happened. That was organic too. But I said, I want you to be ducks in my seats here. Calm, seated there, but instead of your legs kicking under the water, I said, what's working hard is your brain. And all of a sudden, it just started happening. They started bringing in ducks to my classroom, and then it turned into a whole thing. So right now, the current tally is just over 300. in
Oh my
class.
gosh.
So, but they are the reason I have a experience, because after 21 years in contract and corporate security and traveling like the country, I get to finally do something that is healing my soul. So I got two things here. One first, and they're actually really close, both close and near and dear to my heart. The update to the facilities committee. I had a very productive conversation this week with the Legion, talking about their last presentation, about how they're looking to progress this forward, aspects of it. And I said, I talked with Sean about, how does this need to happen, step by step, who and when and where, before it ultimately gets wrapped up and, brought to city council. They have different facets of this, some of it's gonna be, a zoning thing, the wiring, all that kind of stuff, all that they spoke about last week. So I had a really good conversation with them, added an understanding to that, and I'm really excited about the path forward for them. So they're gonna start presenting some more packaged information to us for, true consideration based on their presentation last week, so. The fireworks. Cannot say how happy I am that this is really taken off. Yeah, I tried to mirror things that influenced me at that age, right? So we are, and this is no slight against how things have been worked in the past. Ben Lee did an incredible job year after year with the Legion, with all the organizations that helped him run this. But again, through strokes of brilliance and speaking with Ben, and a real huge buy-in from the community, we've hit our fundraising goal, and we've actually, and it sounds almost embarrassing to say, we've actually even turned away a couple of sponsors saying, we just want to run this the way it's gonna be, the way we have it packaged up right now, because we don't want to overextend the facility. And the facility is the green space there between the middle school and the stadium, and including the stadium and the stage. So we don't wanna blow the doors out and say, oh, we went too far, too fast, right? What we wanna do is, we're offering a total of 10 activities. Some have been released. The face painting was the first to be released. So we're offering 10 activities that are gonna be essentially either free. Wait, let's take a look here. All 10 of these activities for the kids, and kids at heart, are gonna be free. So the kids will be able to do some face painting, and then there's gonna be more announcements coming out about what's gonna be free. And we're gonna really draw a good crowd. The same food vendors, we might be adding one. But again, it's all through the work of the Legion, downtown Johnstown, JYA, the police department, the fire department, schools, and Ben Lee's fireworks emeritus status. It's been a really great run, and we're still 57 days away from it right now. And I couldn't say how proud I am of the sponsors, the partnerships we have with some local groups. We had people with money, we had groups with people. And we've actually brought those together and say, if we do this all together, everyone has an easy lift, you know? We have both our Boy Scout troops here in town are gonna be doing trash pickup during the event. And then we have a sports organization that's gonna be doing pickup the day after the event. So they'll be focusing on JYA fields. So all the concerns of the debris and the fallout, both before, during, and after, is gonna be all taken care of. And we got some great community organizers that are gonna be either sponsoring or participating in some of these events. One that I'm super thrilled about that opens up from these kind of super people. I don't wanna take the top off it too soon, so. But again, it's gonna be an awesome event. Community involvement has been great, so thank you. More to come.
Sean, do you have anything?
Here, let's see, quick notes. Dr. Wagner reached out regarding.
Oh. You got a loud enough voice there. I hope so.
Mic was off.
Mic was off. Window shades. Any opposition to the school doing some measurements in the installation of window shades? I know at the last council meeting, it was discussed that they maybe not move forward, but risk associated with this is you get some
new
shades.
window shades for free.
Yeah, so if you're not opposed to that, I will give Dr. Wagner authorization to start looking at some window treatments associated with the council chambers for their use.
Are they gonna be blue?
They could be blue, maybe they should be blue.
He said they're gonna use they're gonna be very nice.
Well, they don't need all of them, because those ones are so fogged. I
I
mean,
think it was glare
Natural shades.
It's engineered that way.
Organic shades.
I'm hoping the shades go there so we don't have to see those anymore.
Not sure about over there, but I'm certain that they're looking at behind us. So I'll let Dr. Wagner know that he is fine to move forward with that. I did want to cover just an update, and we touched on it briefly about some mill and fill situations that are happening, and just let you know that we're probably going to move in a different direction on McCracken and Liberty. Got some notes, so I'll pull from my notes that I scribbled down really, really quickly, so that way I don't get sidetracked. So the pothole assessment this year, a little larger than anticipated. This is probably a reflection of our aging infrastructure. Many of the roadways are still living on the original installation by the developer. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. We have not been able to pave those roadways as frequently as we would like. A lot of that's budget constraints, but we will continue to operate the best we can with the budget that we have. As these neighborhoods that are living on their original installation start to age even further, it will become more challenging. So that is something, just as a public service statement, kind of getting that information out there. But going back to the original statement, the assessment this year was a little larger than anticipated. In prior meetings, we had discussed the kind of the goal, and the thought would be to repave McCracken and Liberty. Knowing that we are probably out over our skis on the pothole repair situation that exists, and knowing that we need to get back in front of that, myself and the service director have reviewed this, and we feel moving forward with a private outfit company to come in and at least get a big jump on some of these sections relative to one neighborhood that has an extensive amount of potholes that need to be repaired, and then still having our street crew do Hillview, Douglas, Sportsman's Club Road. But if we were to ask them to tackle all of the pothole repairs necessary, it would take quite a bit of the summer, and it would leave our staff depleted from other items that they are trying to obviously keep up with, grass mowing and
Sean,
general
not to,
maintenance.
just to clarify, how many people are on that crew?
So we have street department, we currently have 3. We have an individual, Tim Perry, who helps out when necessary, a lot of the times with snow plowing, but with this particular issue, he has been brought in to help as much as he can. So right now,
Very small crew to tackle.
it is a very small
that
crew.
much.
And I think when we were evaluating at the beginning of the year with projects, we were just uncovering some of the potholes, and I know after that time is when Jack went out and obviously started to assess the pothole repairs, started marking them, rented a grinder, which you're on a waiting list to rent a grinder. So we probably went a little aggressive on the grinding. You know, hey, we're now assessing the situation and figuring out the best path forward. And what we've come up with is to potentially pull back from the repaving of Liberty, utilize that money to fix the potholes, at least in Concord Crossing, get us a jump start there, and the guys will continue to work on the other roadways throughout the village. But if we were to try to get to all of the other roadway segments, it may be late summer before we could do that. So our recommendation, and my recommendation to council, is that we pull off of Liberty and move forward with the pothole repair with Extreme Law, and simply have it done and get our guys onto the other projects. If there's any questions or different alternative thoughts, we're here to listen. Taking a page out of Jeff's book, I'm not necessarily asking you guys what we should do. I'm letting you know that that's the recommendation of staff and our assessment of it. And if you obviously disagree heavily, we will evaluate it again and answer any questions you have. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the buck stops with you, but this is our recommendation. We'll move forward with it unless you tell us otherwise.
Any objections?
What's your timing?
Great question. I'm going to give a little bit of the floor to Jack. He's been in connection with Extreme Law, and I think you're going to like the answer.
Push it out. Just no one's mad when it happens early, but everybody asks.
Well, here's the situation. Due to all the rain, they have a number of big projects that they're waiting on to get caught up. So if I can get an answer tonight, they believe this in Concord Crossing is a 2 to 3 day project. Hoping to, worst case 3, they will be in Friday, if I can call them after this meeting, to start. It will not be in the next Monday because they have a full 1 day job, then Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, Tuesday for sure, but Wednesday if necessary. Please understand, this crew will not work in the rain that my crew was trying to work in, because we had a bad situation up in there that we were trying to remedy in there. It's more work that's done there. But getting away from that, if I can get a decision tonight, They'll be in Friday and again the next Tuesday to take care of the Concord Crossing area.
Is,
Our crews have moved, I don't know if you see or not, they're over on Sportsman's Club now. The more of this work they do, the better they get. But again, it's the speed and timing of it, because I've got to get parks and cemeteries ready for this Mother Days weekend. So that's our battle.
is Leafy Dell done now?
I'm going to tell you, Leafy Dale does not have potholes, but it is not smooth. After we get the potholes everywhere else taken care of, I want to go back in there with a heat plate and see if I can level that up and make it a smoother entrance in and out.
Okay.
I'm not telling you it's a smooth entrance now, but there are no potholes there. But again, we can do a better job. It's just going to take some time and sunny weather. So to answer your question in a long way around, we want to go back and rework
Okay.
that section.
Okay. General timeline.
Well, again, I've got to get Hillview
Yep.
is our next big push. And we've got to get East Douglas. I actually stoned East Douglas today because it was so rough. I went ahead and leveled it with stone. And then we got to get Hembrink Alley done. So, month,
And they started working on Sportsman's Club.
working on Sportsman's Club today, and actually what they've got down looks good and is a much better product than what we have up at Leafy Dale. But again, Leafy Dale was their first cut and try at it, but we're getting better. But and then not only the rain hindered us, but then of our 3 employees, one of them was sick end of last week and Monday and Tuesday of this week. So that takes the staff pretty small.
How much of Sportsman's Club are we responsible for?
Oh, don't ask that question.
Well, that's a wonderful question that we just became aware of today. I'm going to turn that back over to the city manager.
Sorry,
Well done.
I just didn't understand why we're.
Oh, and I will say this out loud, that was not a teed-up conversation that Donnie and I had planned by any means. I found this out really at the 11th hour, right before coming back to the office.
We can tell them what it used to be, which is what we knew.
Right. So what I will tell you is we had, let me come back to that. Let's finish this and then let's go back to that because it's going to take a little bit of time and I don't want to detract from this. I want to reiterate, this will be pothole repair. This is not a repavement of an entire street. So what's happening now, specifically in Concord Crossing, we're bringing in a company to fix potholes, not repave. So the expectation may have been here. I want to bring it back down to here because that's where we're at. And we're going to continue to assess this strategy, this year and next year, as these potholes start to kind of become larger. This may be our approach to buying some time on the roadways until we can start to get enough revenue to obviously do full street repairs and mill and fill situations. So if there's nothing more on that, I'll dive into this question that the mayor.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I don't know if you got like a sixth sense or whatever, but, so, a resident, I'm not sure if they were a Johnstown resident, reached out to the county to express their concerns with some of the potholes associated with Sportsman's Club Road. The county directed them to us in an email chain, and in that email chain stated that Johnstown was responsible for the corporation limit line, which is right there kind of at 62, just a little bit past that, all the way down to Nichols Lane. I immediately jumped on the email. Jack was handling the constituents' complaint. He did so in a very nice fashion, letting her know that I think what they were looking at, where we did some milling, would be fixed here shortly, and they were working on that today. I then followed up with the county individually on the side and said, I'm not certain that we have all the way out to Nichols Lane. We have only annexed probably a couple hundred yards maybe at best a mile of Sportsman's Club Road. So consistency of usual annexation would be one side of the road is ours, the rest of it's the county's, and then it basically stops kind of at Lake Township and then goes on, and that would be the county. I said, unless you can show me documentation that would suggest otherwise. About a minute later, I got a documentation that would suggest otherwise. And so,
So all that land on the right-hand side of the road, all the way up to Nichols, is in the city of Johnstown?
no. So back in 2008,
This gets better.
the city of Johnstown, in an agreement with the county commissioners for annexation, and they passed this by ordinance, agreed to take repair, maintenance, and plowing of Sportsman's Club Road from our corporation limits, it says corporate line, all the way to the center line of Nichols Lane. I don't know why they did that. That's not customary. So I will reach out to Jared at the county and see if we can put that one back in the box. And
Have you
maybe,
been plowing it, Jack?
Oh,
No.
haven't touched it.
I think the county thought it was
probably
ours
didn't have the
until
equipment until
somebody
recently.
finally was inquiring about it.
And if you
So,
look at the road, I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
to interrupt. If you look at the road, if you drive that road, you can tell where they've been plowing and maintaining, because the road condition is totally different.
Huh.
What about police services?
same, let me check the document for that. I needed a break after reading repair, maintenance, and snow plowing, and I didn't dive any further into it. And I said, that's probably enough for one afternoon. So I'll check that. I don't think we have jurisdiction there because that's an annexation situation. Seems to be an annexation agreement with the county, that they reference the ordinance that we passed, a part of their annexation resolution. I'm going to get with legal and unpack this a little bit more. We'll see what we can do to navigate it the best we can. Jared at the county has been fantastic with other agreements that were made related to Duncan Plains, similar fashion. Found out this year, obviously that one was kind of irrelevant because we were starting to obviously annex a large portion of it. So the county is probably going to be,
So we agreed to take care of a road that is not in our jurisdiction. That is kind of us. We are a kind city.
we are a generous bunch. I'd just be happy to maintain our own roads.
Yes.
So
Side of the road.
I'll have more information for that at a later date.
Okay.
And you're not allowed to ask any more questions,
I'm not.
Pulls up now.
so.
Anybody else over there with questions? Okay, I have one thing for other business. So in the budget for 2025, we budgeted a public relations, media, that kind of thing. Given the different situations we're going through right now, I would like to see if Sean, because we have that money available still, it's still in the budget. You guys have been using someone recently with the,
I'll tee up here.
Go ahead.
So, you all at the beginning of the year, let me see if I can format this in the correct way. At the beginning of the year have looked at a public relations firm or person or some type of organization to kind of expand on what was done last year from public relations. And I've talked to some other cities, and it's actually not uncommon at our current state of affairs with news media and social media now being a very dominant force, that cities have now taken on permanent public relation agencies in order to communicate their message with the public, since newspapers are kind of a thing of the, I don't want to say thing of the past. I think they still have a place, but they're just not read quite as frequently as they used to. So trying to connect and being engaged with your constituents and getting them information, and how can we do a better job of that on a platform and a level that is convenient for them. There, we've got that out correctly. So we looked at that last year. We've had obviously some issues come up specifically with items that the city's been challenged with recently, that maybe if we had a public relations firm engaged could help communicate accurate information to the public, not only with that particular issue, but I think with just a lot of the great things that you all have going on as well. Every council meeting I hear at the end of it, other business, and also the meeting agendas as well. So
Is
I'll
it-
let to, he said, yeah, go
Is
ahead.
anyone in objection of Sean trying to find someone that fits within our budget that we already authorized the money for? Because this past week, me and Tiffany spent a lot of time on the phone trying to write, which Tiffany wrote a very good media release. So,
If it's in the budget, we kind of already approved it.
yes, that's, I just want to make sure, because if I didn't want him to bring someone in and then people say we didn't know about it, so.
Very good.
Okay.
I appreciate you teeing that up.
Yep, that's all I have. Anybody else in public? Jack, anybody? Okay. Thank you guys for coming. I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fantastic.